everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my channel. In this video I am going to show you a quick walkthrough of this prototype Trapper Keeper, or what I'm also calling the Crafter Keeper, that I designed, and then I will do a tutorial on this one. Both are made with exclusive papers from Country Craft Creations, so stay tuned. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough on this one. This is the prototype Trapper Keeper, Crafter Keeper that I designed. This is the one that I worked out all the details, the size, the fit, and how to make it all come together. And so we'll be doing a different one in this tutorial with a different paper, also exclusive from Country Craft Creation. This is the Always Happy paper. If you like this, you can look at this and use this paper for yours, or use the one that I'm going to use in the tutorial. So here's the front of it. It is not a full-size Trapper Keeper, of course. It is about 6 3/4 wide and 8 1/4 tall. And here is the front with the curved notebook style. And I added bees here from the collection and glossy accented, or used the Nouveau crystal glaze on them. It has the Velcro, so you get that nice Trapper Keeper sound. Opens up. So nothing here because that's your closure, just like the real Trapper Keeper. I did add a pocket. I added a closure with a magnet here because these kept sliding out and I didn't like that. So I'll show you how to do that to add this afterwards. You don't have to add one, but I'll show you how. I use a lot of the scraps to make booklets to tuck in. I'll just show you real quick what they look like. This one is made out of brown. My other one will be made out of black artisan cardstock. It has the disc rings here on this spine section here. I did use I believe these are the, what size are these? The 1 inch 3/4. Yeah, about 3/4, 1 inch size. You can use the bigger one. It's designed where you can use these bigger ones, but I really like the smaller ones better. If you don't have the disc rings and the disc punch, then you can use a regular punch. I would put eyelets in it and the smaller notebook binders clips that you can get for these 3 sections here. So I put a pencil holder. I added a little like divider here. I then did a acetate divider sheet where I added bees on the front. I also stamped in archival ink in the yellow, just to get the yellow tone color where you line this up underneath the shorter divider and just kind of get that look. I don't know if I'll do that in the other one or not, but I'll show you what I did on how to stamp that. Then this is your first folder. I did add pattern paper, a fussy cut bee here. Folder opens up, has 2 pockets like it would have in a Trapper Keeper, with all your little tuck spots that I made, photo mats out of cardstock and the pattern paper. I added a tag on the front of it just to decorate it up. That gives it that Crafter Keeper look. Made little paper clip with flat back enamel dots. Punched out some of the bees with circles and added some dots in there. This folder has a tab, so I use pattern paper to decorate that up. More photo mats here, just different sizes based on what you have left from when you did your cutting. So here's the back side. I did some more of the crystal glaze on different elements here that I added. Then this is a pocket folder, and it ties shut. I added and cut apart here, some more of the enamel dots and a bee. And so in this pocket you can tuck some of your homework or your list of projects you want to make, or whatever you're using this Trapper Keeper, Crafter Keeper for. So I do like to utilize a lot of scraps in making my inserts, my projects. So you just tie this closed. If you don't want this as a tie, if you want a ribbon tie, you could also add a little magnet in there if you wanted to. There's the back side that holds the ribbon down. This is just something I added to show you a different look. You could pick up some Vellum paper. This is the vellum with dots. It's made to fit, and so that's just a sheet that folds over there. Pretty pattern paper here on the folder. You get to make 2 folders for this project because I believe the original Trapper Keepers came with 2 folders. So again, I just decorated it with, whoops, I got over glued something there. More photo mats in both of these, different sizes. Some booklets out of the pattern paper. These will be different in the other one in the tutorial because I will be using whatever I have left from that. Now this, I will show you how to do this. This is a acetate pocket that you can score and glue down. So I'll put a tag in there like this. This is a pull-out photo mat. So you could actually put a photo in there if you wanted to and have it like that. Now in the original Trapper Keepers, of course, they had the metal clip. And I didn't have any metal clips that I thought would fit in there. You could use, I think Tim Holtz has a smaller, but I created like a belly band to hold this. Slide in there. Of course, I could have added more sheets of paper. I just used this to show you what it looks like. Put a B down here. And I will show you how to make this scored piece here out of the artisan cardstock. And that is the Trapper Keeper or Crafter Keeper, if that's what you would like to call it. So let's get started on the supply list and then the tutorial. To create our Crafter Keeper or Trapper Keeper, I'm going to go over the supplies that I used. If I've missed anything, I will list it on the video or in the description below. This is the one that I made out of the Always Happy Country Craft Creations papers. Set this one aside. We'll refer to it as we need to. This one in the tutorial is going to be made out of Life is Beautiful, which is also an exclusive collection by Country Craft Creations. Now I have the full pack here. I will not be needing all of it, so we'll get to make some other projects out of this one, hopefully in the near future. And I also have the cut-aparts for this right here that comes with the 12 by 12. You are going to need artisan cardstock. I'm going to use black to wrap the cover. You'll need at least 2, maybe 3 sheets. I have 3 pulled out. I believe I used just 2, but you'll want some artisan cardstock. For your folders and inserts, you're going to want some My Colors. Now I have 2 sheets of these colors that I think work with the collection. I'm not sure if I'll use all 3 colors or just pick on one, whichever, but I pulled out Desert Cactus, Frosty Pink, and Poolside, because I think those colors are really pretty with it, so I have those ready. You will need 1 sheet of lightweight, not the heavy, lightweight chipboard. If you want to do the Acetate Pocket and the Acetate Divider, then you're going to need a sheet. It comes with this protective paper here, but anyway, this is what it is. This is a 12 by 12 from Country Craft Creations of the acetate. If you like to use some vellum, like the vellum insert in the prototype I did, you might want to pick up some vellum. This I had in my stash. This is a dot, and this is the solid white. To stamp on the acetate sheet, you will need archival ink. I have the black I think I'll be using on this one. Couple of stamps, whatever you have in your stash. You might want some of the crystal glaze or glossy accents if you like to add that to your album. You're going to need at least 1 magnet. These are the large magnetic disc by Basic Gray that I get from Country Craft Creations. You're going to want that. I will be showing how to make this with the disc rings. These are the 3/4 1-inch size. You can pick these up. These are from my stash, so I have different sizes. The book did work with the big ones, but I didn't like how it looked. So this would be the size I would recommend. If you do not have a disc punch and you don't have these rings, you can still make this project using a regular hole punch. I would add eyelets for extra support, and the regular little smaller 1-inch notebook rings for those binder rings. This is a single disc punch that I use. So you might need one of those if you're going to do the disc. And of course you're going to need the Velcro, a piece of Velcro. This is the the sew-on kind because I don't like that adhesive. It doesn't stick good, so I use the art glitter glue to glue this on. So you need your Velcro, some seam binding. I think this is the olive green. I thought that looked good with the paper. I also used a 1/2-inch corner rounder, scoreboard, and trimmer. I'll probably be using this one, the all-in-one. And then you also need, maybe that's it, a ruler, scissors, things like that. So let's get started. I have cut my artisan cardstock and my lightweight chipboard. You did need 3 sheets of the 12 by 12 of the artisan cardstock. I'm using black. I'll give you those measurements in just a second. And the 1 sheet of the lightweight chipboard is the correct supply that you needed. You're also going to need your art glitter glue. And you're going to want your 1/4 inch score tape. So I forgot to add that on, but we will put that on the supply list on the screen. Okay, so the chipboard I cut 2 6 by 8 1/4. These are your main part of your notebook, Trapper Keeper. You need a spine that is 1 1/2 by 8 1/4. And then that flap that comes over, you need one that's 2 1/4 by 8 1/4. Then take you're going to need the chomper for this. Because, I don't know if the regular corner rounder will do it or not, but the 1/2 inch chomp corner around 2 corners, just like that, on the same side. So that is your flap. So we got that ready. And then for your artisan cardstock to wrap this, we're going to have to do this a wrapping method. We need one that is 10 1/4 by 11 1/4, one that's 10 1/4 by 9, and one that is 4 by 8 1/4. This is your hinge. Okay, so we've got those ready to go. Let us score our hinge piece first. So let me flip this over real quick. Okay, so your hinge binder piece, one that is 4 inches by 8 1/4, you're going to put your 4-inch side in, and we're going to score at 1 1/2. Now remember, I'm coming on this scoreboard this way. Measurements are the same. You're going to be, if you use the other scoreboard, I'll show you just a second. You're going to score at 1 1/2. 2, and 2 1/2. So that gives you the wings out here that are I think it's 1 1/2 inches. Let me double check. Can't remember. Yeah, 2 wings that are 1 1/2, 2 1/2 inch right here. So when we fold this in the middle, and then you fold these back, the wings back, you're going to just have a 1/2 inch hinge right here in the middle. This is where the holes for your disc punch for your rings are going to go. You need the double paper to give you extra strength on that. Okay, so we need that. Let me go ahead and show you on a regular scoreboard. To do that, it's the same thing. You're just going to put it in 4 inches at the top, score at your 1 1/2, your 2, and your 2 1/2. So it's mine's coming this way, and yours is a little bit different. I'm using this one because I can switch back and forth easier in my limited space here. So we have this for our spine. So we don't do any gluing. We're going to set that aside. I leave it loose. I don't glue it together. And we're going to get ready to wrap these pieces to make our folder, our notebook folder. Now we'll do some scoring on these bigger pieces of cardstock to help us with placement for wrapping our cover of our notebook. So we're going to take our 10 1/4 by 11 1/4 piece of cardstock, and we're going to put it in, and we're going to score the 11 1/4 side. We're going to score at 1 inch. This is going to be a placement guide, but also to wrap. 1 inch, and then flip it around, and on the same side, the 11 1/4, we're just going to score at 1/4 inch. Now in your bigger trimmer, and this mark is just a placement guide. Okay, in our bigger trimmer, you would score at 1 and 11. Then turn to your 10 1/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 1 inch. Turn, score the other side at 1 inch. So that in a bigger scoreboard would be scoring at 1 inch and at 9 1/4. So we have that one ready. You take your other piece, your 10 1/4 by 9, and we're going to score our 9 inch side at 4. We're going to score it at 4. So I'm just thinking for just a second. Let me look at my notes. Okay, so we're going to score at 4 and at 6. Between the 4 and the 6, you're going to score every 1/8 of an inch. So you have 4, 4 1/8, 4 1/4, 4 3/8, 4 1/2, 4 5/8, 4 7/8. Oops, skipped one. 4 3/4, missed that one. 4 3/4, 4 7/8, 5, 5 1/8, 5 1/4, 5 3/8, 5 1/2, 3 3/4, 5 3/4, 5 5/8. I skipped that one. 5 3/4, and then 5 7/8, and then we stop at 6. So that gives us that curve that we're going to need for this notebook. Okay, then we're going to turn this to the 10 1/4 side and score at 1 inch. Turn and score at 1 inch on the other side, or if you're using the big scoreboard, at 9 1/4. Okay, so it should look like that. So this is what we have right now, and we're ready to put these together. So I am going to move this out of the way for right now so we can have plenty of room. You're going to need your 1/4 inch score tape. And this bigger piece here, where you have your little 1/4 inch mark here, we're going to put the tape right there in that section. So right along that score line there. Okay. Burnish that down so it's easier to peel up. And then we're going to take our backing off of our tape. Now, I always do it on the wrong side. There we go. And take your piece here, turn it so that the widest space is here. You want the shortest one over here. And you're going to line this up right on that 1/4 inch line where your score tape is. So line it up straight down there, and then here at the top, take your bone folder and burnish that really good. Flip it over. If you've got some showing, some of your tape, that's okay because it will be covered by paper, but if you want to push that in a little bit, I have a little bit showing there so it doesn't stick down. I'm just going to kind of do that, or you can take one of those erasers and rub it off. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold my score lines and burnish those. That, these long ones here. This is what's going to wrap around our chipboard pieces. And then I'm going to do this side here. The reason I didn't score this other end down here is because I wanted to see where it all fell in line. Now then, you can score, fold the one by the space, fold that a little bit, and this one here. But you don't want to fold any of the 1/2 inch ones. Yeah, those are just going to curve. So we don't want to fold the lines, we just want to let them curve. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, we're going to take our chipboard. Now you can use score tape if you want to, or glue. I am going to go ahead and use glue. Take one of your bigger pieces, put your adhesive on one side, your glue or your score tape sheets, whichever you want to use. I'm going to take this one and we're going to put it right there in this corner. We're going to have an inch here, inch here, and inch here. We're going to line it up against the score lines like that. Okay. Go ahead and burnish those down. So I have folds over that. Okay, now take your little narrow piece, and this is going to glue here, and you want to leave about 1/8 of an inch space right there. So I'll take my glue, apply it to this one, just on one side. Make sure it lines up with the score line down here. Look at it and get about 1/8 of an inch space right there. And burnish that one. Take your other wide piece. Same thing, it's going to have about 1/8 of an inch gap. Going to line it up just like that. It should bring it to almost to that where we started our scoring. If not, then we may need to do another score line right in there. Okay, so I'm going to put glue on this one. Make sure we're lining it up against the score line and leaving us 1/8 of an inch. So that looks like it's almost got a 1/16 there, but I may end up doing an extra score there just to make sure that it bends correctly. Thinking it is going to be okay, but let's go ahead and grab my scoreboard. I'm just going to line it up. I can just do a score right here alongside the chipboard. Okay. So there we go. Be careful and don't push too hard on it. You don't want to poke a hole in it. Okay. So now we're going to take our scissors. And here on this side, we're going to cut the corners out right along the score line. Just like that. So cut the two squares out. Fold it over and see how that looks. Now then, you're just going to do a very, very small miter. Turn it over. Put your scissor to the chipboard and just barely cut any right there. And so that should work just like that. So this is going to fold in here. And this is going to fold here. Okay, so we still need to add our last piece here. Okay, so this is going to go, and we have less, we don't have a full inch here, and that's what I wanted. So we have our rounded corner. Just going to cut off a little nub here that's sticking out a little bit. So we want the curved corners out to our right. So take your glue or your adhesive and put it on one side that's correct, so that it will go towards the right, the curved corners, the rounded corners. I'm going to take our time and make sure everybody's following along. Now put this along that score line, the last score line right there. Line up the top and the bottom, getting it straight, and burnish that. So you have about a ½ inch left on the end. And that's fine. Whoops. Can't see on this black. I didn't get it up against that score line. Maybe add some more glue. So double check that. Make sure you've got it along that score line. So it gives us a little more than a ½ inch then. Black, I couldn't see. So there it is right there and there. See, I was off about 1/8 of an inch. So we get about 3/4 over here on the side. And I need to reburnish that really well. Okay. So that's going to give us that section in there that is not chipboard. It's a little more like the Trapper Keeper. Okay, so for this rounded corner, this is what's going to be done just a little bit different. I'm just going to take my scissors. I'm just going to cut the cardstock right up to the chipboard, about 1/8 of an inch where it starts the curve. I'm going to do that on both ends. So where the curve is about to start, just about 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Then this part here, we're just going to cut a curve on our own like that. Make it a little shorter in there. So right here, I just go and I curve in. Okay. That one, I hope I didn't get it too short. Okay. Now then, I'm going to take my smaller scissors here, my little, much smaller, nippy scissors, I call them. Okay. And I'm going to put some more glue in this curve because I don't have quite enough under there. Okay, I want to make sure it's stuck down. Take these little scissors and you're just going to cut little eyelash snips from the outer edge of your cardstock about every 1/16 of an inch, all the way till you stop at the chipboard. And then one straight one there. So you've got, see all these little eyelashy looking like that. Okay, do that on both corners, curves. Like here, this is straight right there, and then I about every 1/16 of an inch to a little eyelash snip in. Not V's. We want a lot of little feathery pieces. Just like that. You can see them when I separate them. Okay. Now then, we take our glue. I'm going to put glue right here. Right here. Then you're going to put glue on all your little eyelash pieces. Put glue on that. You can't get it perfect. Just get glue there the best you can. And then you're going to start folding these over on that curve and really pressing those guys in. Some of them will overlap on each other, and that's fine. You just, what the end result is, you want this curve going on right here on this edge. So you just bring this in. Some of them do overlap. If you need to add more glue, you add more glue. But you want to keep pushing so that you have a finished curved edge right there. Okay, now then, the rest can be, in this you're going to have to fold because we didn't score. You can take your bone folder and do a score mark in there. You're going to bring that over just like that. So right here I need some more pressed down glue. Now glue along the chipboard in that score mark in there, and then glue on the rest of it. Bring this over, push it in really good. Burnish. Burnishing those little eyelash ones, make sure they stuck down. If you need to add more glue, you do that. Okay, so you see, we have that curved corner. Now then, go ahead on one long side, put your glue along the chipboard, put it along the score line. Going to have to work a little fast on this really long one. Get your glue on there really good. You don't want to let it start drying before you've actually got this put down over those score lines there. And the reason I don't cut that out, I want to make sure that I leave it with a good edge. So really burnish right here. Okay, right in there. Burnish, burnish, burnish. So this is really flat in there. Get this one down. Okay. Burnish that. Take the rounded part of your bone folder and kind of burnish in that little 1/8 of an inch section right there. Okay, so there's that side. Flip it over. And we're going to do the other side the exact same way. Along that score line. Glue on the rest of it. Work quickly. Okay. Fold it over. Really burnish here in this section here to get this flat up against that chipboard, and you want this flat down in there. Burnish. And in the grooves. Okay, we just have one more side to do. So right here, kind of came up, so I'll press that in. There we go. Now then, here we're just checking it to make sure it comes in good. Same thing, glue in that score line there, and then over the entire piece. Don't have to work quite as fast on this one. Fold it over, wipe off any excess glue, and burnish. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Turn it around. Gently work this one over because you don't have much of a gap. And this one the same way. That gives you the binder edge. This will curve around and you will have a curve. Now I'm going to go ahead and work this, not folding those lines, but just giving me a curve, kind of rounding it, letting it round back and forth. So I want that rounded edge, which I will get in there a little better when I get my pattern paper on and our Velcro. So that's the cover of our Trapper Keeper Crafter Keeper. Next, we're going to work on our hinge piece. Now this one I'm showing you will be for the discs. So I'm going to use these smaller discs here. So you would make it this way if you want to use binder rings. And I would glue these together for a binder ring. Punch my holes and add large eyelets, and I would do 3 and then use the ring. One other option, if you don't want to use disc and you don't want to use binder rings, is in this section you could put a small binder mechanism. I think Tim Holtz has some, or did have the small ones. I used to have some. I don't have any now, but you would install those, put your holes in, put those in, and have it come through the back side. I would put my pattern paper on the outside first because I think maybe they're like little screws or something. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But you could actually use a small actual binder mechanism there instead. Now for these clips, for the disc, I do not glue this inside because I want it to have, I want it to hold it, because the outer edge is what holds it on, and if it's too skinny, I'm afraid it might fall off. I don't know. That's just my thought. I haven't tried it the other way. Now what I need to do now is to punch my holes. And I use the single disc punch by We Are Memory Keepers. Normally you use this as your guide right here, but I'm going to use the end on this one for my guide here. So I line it up and punch. Then I flip it around and I'll do the same on the other end, line it up on the end and punch. So now I have 2. I need to get one in the center. So this is 8 1/4. Let me take my pencil and my ruler, move this up. So the whole piece is 8 1/4. So 4 1/8 is the center of this binding piece. 4 1/8. And I'm going to mark it right here. And then I'm going to draw me a line that I can see. Oops. Okay, right there, 4 1/8. And then I will line it up. Now on this, there is a line here and here to help line up. That's why I wanted the line to go further out so that I can actually see it and punch. So now I have my 3 disc punch holes for my binder. Okay. I'm going to put this piece in with score tape and art glitter glue. Now on this side, I'm going to go ahead and erase my pencil line, though most of this will be covered by pattern paper. Just in case, I'm going to erase that. So this will be in the center of your spine. And I push it in, and it's going to fit exactly from top to bottom. and I push it in so that it raises up, but I don't want it to go flat. I kind of want it to go like a V. So once I put it in the center where I can see, I push it in about where I want it, right here. I'm going to mark a line here and over here. So I've got that line. So I'm going to measure these, and I may straighten these up and make them more even. So this one is about 3/4. This one I have almost an inch. So I'm going to make them 3/4 on each side. So I'm going to put my ruler here and mark 3/4 here, 3/4 here, and 3/4 down here. And also, this one's not real straight. It was just giving me an idea of what I wanted. 3/4, 3/4, and 3/4. And then I'll double check it again. I'm going to draw a line from each tick mark. Just line them up. Okay, and draw a line on each side. So this is for placement. All this will be covered by pattern paper as well. So that's where the edges of this should attach down. So I'm just going to double check. Yeah, and it's still loose in there, but it's pushed in pretty much the way I want it. So we'll be ready to glue that in, and we're going to add score tape as well. Okay, so I've flattened it down on the back side here. I'm going to take my score tape, and I'm going to put some right here along the outer edge. I'm using the 3/8 wide. You can use whatever you have, like 1/2 inch or so. I would use at least 3/8 width minimum. So put that on. And then I'm going to put one on the inside here along the fold line, not where the inside part is. We don't want it there. Not where the clips go, disc go. We don't want that. That sounded like I said disco, like we're going to dance. No, the disc go. Still can't make it sound right. So burnish all these, and then I'm going to put glue in between. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this off. Both sides. Okay. And then we're going to take the art glitter glue, and I'm going to fill it in between the score tape. Get it on there pretty good. I want this to really hold in there. Both sides. My silicone tip is needs to be changed out on a different bottle, glue refilled, and then also washed out. So you do have to clean those out every now and then as well, just like these. Okay, so now we've got this. I'm going to take this and line up the one side along the bottom and along that line, so it should fit in between there. Burnish that down, and then this one here, I'm going to push in and line that up right there like that. So burnish all of that. Let that glue grab and score tape. Now these are not attached. It's still narrow in there, but see, you've got a little bit of V. Can you see that right there? Now these discs will go in right there. And it just hangs on the outer edge, but see, by having the double fold, I think it gives it more strength. So there's our binding. And now we need to burnish these in here where the little grooves are. I should have done that before I did my binding clips so that I could make sure that glue was in there. But I think it's going to be okay. So you get that crease in there, use your rounded part of your bone folder because you want your notebook to fold up nicely. So now I'm going to gently bend and gently bend. And there we have it. Okay, so now we're ready for pattern paper. It's really easy to make this once I figured it out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my pattern paper, come back and show you what I've got ready to put into the notebook. Okay, so I've cut out my pattern, picked it out and cut out my pattern papers. I'm going to show you real quick what I'm going to do. Now, how close to the edge you cut yours or put your pattern papers is totally up to you. So what I did is, like here on the cover, I measured the finished cover is 6 by 8 1/4. So let me see here. Cut one, and I like mine to go almost to the edge. I'm finding that I like very narrow margin, even closer than cutting less, 1/8 of an inch less both directions. I actually put it on the 6 inch and just back it off a tiny bit, like, what is that, 1/16 of an inch maybe, and cut. And then the same way with the height. So this is going to be my cover. The back ended up being a little wider because I wanted to bring it into this over here a bit. Okay, so that's my front and back cover. My flap is going to be the dragonflies in that blue because I just love that color, so it's going to look like that. Okay, and of course I rounded the 2 corners, and again this is cut really close to the size, and then my spine will also be the dragonflies. And then on the inside, measure yours because it may come, be different. So this one's the same as the front. So there it goes. Make sure it doesn't go over your fold line of your notebook or your binder. And then this one's going to come this way real close. Now, this one here and this one here, I'm going to put score tape on the outer edge and the rest will be glue. So this is going to be the inside right here, like that. Isn't that cute? Because I only have one full sheet of these tags, and I'm going to use one sheet. So that's like that. This will not have any pattern paper. You do not want to put any pattern paper on this this roll spine, okay? Not at all. Then here on the inside, and measure yours because mine ended up being, even though I scored them the same, this side is a little wider, so this one's cut at a 1/2 inch and this one's cut at 3/8. So measure yours. Yours may be a little different, but anyway, that's going to be the paper in there. So I'm going to glue all this off camera. I did ink the edges with black soot distress ink, and it's probably easier for you to mat the outside if you take these rings off. Excuse me. If you take the rings off, I hit my microphone. Take the rings off, might make it easier. I'm going to do mine with them on. So get all that done. We do not add our Velcro until we've put all our pattern paper on our notebook binder. Okay, so now we're ready to put our closure on. For a Trapper Keeper, for the Crafter Keeper, it has to be Velcro. It's got to have that Velcro sound. So you need 2 pieces. You need the fuzzy side and the loopy side. And I cut these down. I've got, each one is about 1 3/4 inches. And the loopy side is going to go on the inside of this flap here. And the fuzzy side is going to go on the front of the binder. Okay. So we want this in the center. Now this is sew-on Velcro. It doesn't have any sticky stuff because I actually want to put glue on it to make it stick really, really well. So it takes a bit to let it dry. So I'm going to get this on here and I'm going to put a lot of glue. And I am using the art glitter glue. I just fill it in pretty solid with the glue. I want to make sure it sticks. And I'm going to, like I said, this goes on the inside of this flap. And I'm going to center it the best I can. And as some glue oozes out, I'm going to press it down. I'm going to take my Teflon bone folder and I'm going to scoop that excess glue off and get me a wipe here and clean this up. You don't want to get it into your loopies of the Velcro, but you also don't want to move it around. So I'm holding it down. Got some right there on the edge. So I'll clean that off. So I know that it's messy because you got to put a lot of glue on this. You don't want to get your paper towel in there. Okay, so I've got a little bit right here on my loopy, but it's right on the edge and it's going to be okay. It's going to dry clear. And I clean it off my paper. Now, let that sit. Don't stick anything together. I'm mashing it. I'm getting some more to come out. And that's what I want because it tells me that it's right there on the edge. So I'm not going to have anything that's, not stuck. Okay. Got a little bit of paper there on there. So just clean this up. And we're going to let that dry before we actually glue the other piece on, because when they separate, they're really sticky. So I'm just going to set it aside and let it dry and then come back a little bit and add the other side. So I don't know how long that's going to take. I just kind of go off and do other errands and different things that I need to do here in the craft room and let that dry really good. Okay, so I think this side is dry enough, hopefully. Take your second piece, which is your fuzzy side, and line it up perfectly with the bumpy side so that it's nice and straight. So we're going to glue this. Now, you position this so that some of this round curve extends to the right. You don't want it way in. Okay, you want it more to the outer edge. So more of this flap is like this. So it's not perfectly lined up with this inside here. You want some of your curved part like a notebook out there. So the edge of this should catch right on the edge of this. So I'm going to take my glue. Now I may have to do some cleanup. I'm going to stay away this time from some of the edging because it does ooze out. So about not a quarter of an inch, about an eighth of an inch. And then I'll put the glue on the center here. Okay. Now that I'm going to carefully bring this around and I'm going to see where that touches in right there and make sure these are kind of straight and lined up. Pressing down, I can't see that. I'm going to take some clips and clip this. These clips have to be careful. I'm going to take paper clips instead because those clips kind of leave a mark sometime. So I'm going to do these paper clips like this. And I'm just going to try to make sure it all stays nice and straight. Turn this over so I can reach in there and press down. I know I've probably got glue oozing out and I can't see it because I've got to let it dry. So we're just going to let this do its thing. Hopefully too much didn't ooze out. There's no way to tell. So we're just going to let it sit and we're going to let it dry. Okay, so I let this clip together glue together for just a couple of minutes. I didn't let it sit. Then I opened it up and it pulled this one off, still attached this, but it left the mark of where the glue was. So I separated it from the loops and I put more glue on the back of this one and attached it down. That way I didn't have a lot of damage around here or oozed out glue. I was able to clean it. I only had a little bit right there. So I'm not ready to put these together. This one needs to set for quite a bit, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. I'm just going to leave it sitting like this and leave the craft room for a little bit and come back and finish up on that. Then we'll be ready I mean, we could go ahead and do it right now, but I'm going to let that dry good. I don't want to make the mistake of closing it and it having to pull apart. Then we're going to start making our pocket in here, our note paper holder here, and our folders and all our goodies that go inside this. Show you how to do all that, and then you can decorate it, have a lot of fun decorating, add tags, whatever you want to different areas, make it as plain or as decorative as you want, because it's going to be your crafter keeper, and I want you to make it the way you want it. Now, I know you might not like this folded edge here, this line here that you can see right here, but I think it's really critical that we have that, because that gives a double edge here on the outer edge. Strength makes it stronger, gives it some strength there and there. So I'm not bothered with that, because it's just part of the mechanism of a notebook like that. And I'm not concerned about this tearing, because this is artisan cardstock. I will say that if you're using a different brand of cardstock, I can't guarantee you how this will hold up. You might want to consider using something like Craftex or something like that to make your little folded spine area here on your notebook. But I've been messing with the other one, with my prototype one, for quite a bit, and I don't see anything changing on it. I've opened it back and forth. I've done all these folders and flips and played with it for quite a bit, and I'm really happy with how it looks. So anyway, we're going to get busy working on this one. I'm going to just let that dry for a bit, and then we'll be back in business getting this one, all the elements put together. Now we're ready to add folders and different elements into our little binder that we have made with the Velcro closure. We've got our rings in and we're ready to get started. So I have pre-cut some things and I'm going to go over it with you. We're going to make, let me show you the prototype. We're going to make a pocket first right here for the side. And this is optional. This is a closure. I am going to make another closure on mine because I like how it holds everything in. I know on the Trapper Keeper it had probably a wider pocket, but I wanted some of this pretty paper more visible. So with a Crafter Keeper we can change it up a little bit. So we're going to have a closure with a magnet right here, just like that. And of course we'll make different things that will go inside. So we're going to make a pocket, and then we're going to make 2 folders and put 2 pockets in each folder. So we'll make 2 of these before we do all the other fun elements. So let me show you how to do that. So for the pocket, I'm going to use the Frosty Pink, my colors, to create that. Set these aside. So I've got my notes here on what I did cut out. So we have one piece that's 9 1/4 by 3. And we're going to score that. So let's get the score part of my all-in-one tool ready. So we're going to score the 9 1/4 by 3-inch piece. We're going to score the 9 1/4 side at a 1/2 inch. Then we're going to turn and score a 1/2 inch on the other end. And then we're going to do the 3-inch side at a 1/2 inch. Now my wording says score the 9 1/4 side at a 1/2 inch and 8 3/4. That's if you have the bigger scoreboard that you can do that. Let me show you real quick. I'm not going to show you on all of these, but like this one, explain my notes here. Your 9 1/4, you score it a 1/2 inch, 8 3/4, and then turn and score at a 1/2 inch. So it comes out the same. It just looks a little different with this board here. So we've got that. Then with this closure piece, also out of the Frosty Pink, we've got one piece that is 1 inch by 5 1/4. We're going to score our 5 1/4 side at just a 1/2 inch. So that creates the closure piece. Okay, so we can put these away. Now then, take your scissors and miter cut where this little square is, right where the corners join, just to the inside of the corner point, like that. So that makes your pocket corners so that they don't overlap. It eliminates a lot of your bulk and thickness. So see how they come together like that. We're also going to do that front piece like that. And of course with this closure we're just going to fold that and burnish. So let me burnish my sides here on my pocket. Now the cut edge, as you saw in the prototype, is done with the envelope punch board, this right here. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so double check my notes, move some things so that got a little more room here under the camera area. Now, your envelope punch board, I'm going to take this pocket and we're going to punch it. I think, let me double check. I think I punched it at 3, but I want to make sure where I punched it. With it folded up, 2. I've got a 2-inch. So it's 2.5 with it opened up, but we're going to put the fold here. So make sure it's the side that doesn't have the bottom fold. So we're going to put it at 2. We're going to punch it like that. Then we're going to flip it, put the folded edge at 2, and punch. Okay, so now you have that. You've got your dips and you have your space in the center. Okay, so you can either use your cutting board, your craft knife, not a cutting board, your craft mat and a craft knife, or you can use your trimmer here. Whoops, doesn't work if you got it this way. Forget to flip this over. Or you can use your trimmer if you have a sliding blade. Okay, so you're going to line this up. You know where your cut line is on your blade. It's on mine, it's these lines here, and I'm going to line this up where the dip is. And you want to start this, your blade, here, not out in there. So you're going to make sure you're missing the these 2 sections here. So I'm waiting for some new blades to come in. I have done a lot of cutting with this trimmer, so I already need some new blades. And I notice especially with my colors, because it's so thick, that I need to kind of sand some of that off. So that's really easy to get that look. Look again, make sure that I did it the same. This one I made it wider. I don't know why. So I put it in at 2. I see. I measured the top. So I cut it at 2 when I should have cut it at 2.5. But you know what? I'm fine with that. So it doesn't matter. Just remember what you do for yours. 2, 2.5. That is fine. So this is going to go inside our binder. So I'm going to open it up. And what this does is this fits down right in here, and it fits exactly. Want to make sure you don't go over your fold. And of course we're going to cut pattern paper for that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and take my glue and put glue on these back 1/2-inch tabs. And go ahead and put this in the front cover. And we'll add the pattern paper in a little bit. So I'm lining this up with the bottom of the notebook and the top edge right along where the fold is going to be, as long as it's not into it, just a little bit up from the fold. And wipe off any glue you might get on there. Let's burnish those sides in and the base here of the pocket, right like that. Okay, so that's where you put a pocket. Just burnish it really well. Make sure it's not hindering the binder at all. So now our closure piece is going to fit right here. And the reason it's shorter and not under here is I didn't want it tearing. And I'm going to show you how to finish this off so that it doesn't matter that it is over this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and attach it right now. And I'm going to put glue on the 1/2 inch tab that's folded under the back side of it. And I want to make sure it's kind of centered. And about a 1/2 inch from the edge. Just going to measure that real quick. Yeah, about a 1/2 inch. Let's go with 3/8. 3/8 of an inch from the edge. Make sure it is straight. Checking both sides. And then I'm going to wipe off any glue here and burnish underneath. So this is this closure right here. So that's going to attach down there. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a magnet. So I have a large basic gray magnetic disc that you can get from Country Craft Creations. I have a plus and a minus. I've attached the sides without the papers together. I'm going to pull off the paper off of one side. And I'm going to attach that down to the back side of this closure piece. Center it, drop it down about 1/2 inch or so. Pull the backing off of the other magnet. Bring it over and close it down onto the top of the pocket so that when you add your pattern paper, it is going to be covered. So I'm going to lift this up gently, and I am going to take some Scotch tape, and I'm going to place it right here over it to keep it in place. And if you don't have the large magnets, you could get by with using just the small basic gray magnets on this. It would hold fine also. It's just that I had the large ones here. I use those a lot, and that's going to hold that down like that. So that works right there for the pocket. So it's going to have pattern paper there. So let's make a couple of folders now. So let me set this aside. Okay. So I'm going to do my folders in 2 different colors. I'm going to make 2 folders. And both are cut at 7.5 by 10.5. And I'm using the poolside blue and the desert cactus green for these. And we're going to score these. So these have already been cut. So you're going to put your 10.5 inch side into your scoreboard, and you're going to score just at 5 on both of these. And we'll fold it up, and I'll show you what that looks like. Scored at 5. Okay, so fold these up. And they're not going to be folded in half exactly. That one needs scored just a little bit more. Score a little harder on than my colors because it's really thick cardstock. There we go. And then burnish that down. Get that nice crease on your little folder. Okay. Let's see if that one's scored enough. I think so. There we go. And burnish. Okay, so we've got this for these folders, which leaves you with about a 1/2 inch gap over here. And this is where we're going to be making our little 3-inch tab with the envelope punch board. So we'll grab that. So take your punch board. You're going to line up the left edge of your little folder right in here. Now, let me see if I can show you. See this pointy thing here? You see the blue right here? That's the edge you want to line up with. So line that up in there and punch. And it's just going to punch through this 1/2 inch top here. Leaves that little lip like a folder does. Then you're going to slide this over to 3. Line up that edge to 3 right there and punch. And that gives you that tab that looks like that. And then we're going to trim the excess away, this part away, so that we just have the tab sticking out. But let's do our blue one next. So left side again. Line that up inside there. Punch. Slide the edge of your folder, the far left edge, to the number 3. You can make your tab different sizes if you wanted to. So now we have the tab. We just need to cut this part away. So let's get the trimmer part ready. Okay. Gonna line this up so that that dip is in the cut. So make sure this is all lined up. Here, bring this down the blade. And just cut. Okay, if you hit it, I didn't get it all the way, so I take my scissors, straighten that out a little bit. So I've got that like that. So take the other one, same thing. I'm going to line this up. Whoops. And cut. And that time I went too far. So I'm going to have to redo my folder. And I will use this for mats. So I messed that one up, so hang on just a second. And let me grab my cardstock again, and I'll recut that. So I apologize, I did cut that too far. So I'll make another one. Okay, so I've recut the one that I messed up and rescored it and repunched for the tab. Now I'm ready to cut, and I will try to be more careful this time and not cut away where I'm not supposed to. So I'll put this in here at the top, line this up there, and just cut. Okay, so we got it that time. Got it right. So these are our little folders. Let me sand a little bit on that right there. So kind of got some rough edges. So that other piece, I'll just cut the tab off that messed up, and I'll use that for a booklet or something that we can use that for. So we've got that ready to go. And then if you want your corners, now on the one for the other one, I did round the corners. Now I used a 1/2 inch, but I think I would rather have a smaller corner rounding on this first part here. So you can actually use the punch on your envelope punch board, the back side. Just put those corners in like that. And see, that gives you that small little rounded look there. And I'm just going to do that on the front flap part like that. So that still needs some sanding right there. Kind of like the way a folder looks. Now we're going to add patterned paper to our folders. If you want to leave them plain, you can, but I will be adding patterned paper before I actually put the punches in to put them in the notebook. Okay, sure, round it good. So I can hold it better. There we go. Okay, so we got the little folders. made. We're going to set those aside for now. We'll not punch our disc part until we are ready to put our pattern paper on. We're going to do that first. So I'm going to set these aside. And next we're going to make some other elements like a divider. In my prototype notebook, the first page or section that I put in to notebook is like a divider, a short divider to add some interest with some of the pattern paper. So we're going to make one of those, or we cut it out. We really don't have to do much to that. It's just cut out a piece from whatever color piece of cardstock you want. Cut out one that is 3 inches by 8 1/4. So we have that. I'm going to set that aside right there. From the different scraps of your cardstock, your My Colors, just plan on using these for like insert mats. Yours may be different sizes. I have some that are 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Different sizes to make tags out of, so those come in really handy for that. Then I cut patterned paper down. I don't have a note wrote on that, but I have this. I like to make a folder, pocket folder, I think it is. Let's see here. Back in here, right here, with the ribbon. So we're going to make that out of patterned paper. And so this just opens up, and then you can put notes and things inside that. So we're going to make that out of this paper here that I chose. And the size that you want the 12 inches wide, of course. So make sure your pattern is going this way. And then I cut it to the height of 7 1/8. 7 1/8. So let me look at my notes to make sure I tell you where to score it properly. So this is a fold-in pocket that's 7 1/2 tall by 12 inches wide. And we're going to score on our 12-inch side at 4 1/2 and 9 1/2. So I have that marked for my bigger scoreboards. Let me just get that one out to make it simpler for both of us, okay? So that's the notes that I wrote. I used my bigger one to make my prototype, so that's why my notes are written like that. So I put the 12-inch in at the top. Make sure it's lined up on both sides. And I'm going to score at 4 1/2 and at 9 1/2. 4 1/2. Oh dear. 4 1/2 and 9 1/2. I almost scored the wrong spot. Okay. I think I can rub that out. I lightly did that in the 9-inch spot, so we don't want that. So let me get my other bone folder and rub that out. Usually, if you haven't scored real heavily, you can rub out where you did the wrong thing, and it won't show a lot. Because I don't want to cut into another piece of paper, so be real careful with that. So that was at 9 1/2. Now, this will fold here and here. This. So I hope I've done it right. Oh, I've got it on the wrong side. Just going to put it on the back. Let's see. Well, we can do it this way, and we will have the other paper on the inside. So pay attention if you wanted it the right direction. I goofed up, but I'm going to do it this way. So it still works, double-sided paper, and then when you open up here, you're going to see this pretty paper on the inside, and then I'm going to use this somewhere else to get this pattern in there. But I love this with the butterflies. But I'm okay. This is going to be okay. Now I'm going to round the 2 outer corners with my 1/2 inch. And here, just round that. So that's the flap that wraps around. And then I'm going to take my 1 1/2 inch circle punch, and I'm going to in the center, I'm just eyeballing it. You can measure if you need to. Punch out a half circle for thumb notch right there. And then we simply just glue this together. I really love that, how that would look. I may make another one. I may use this one and make another one and show you doing it correctly. So put your glue just on this short edge here, short side, and then go ahead and put those together. Because I like this pattern too. This piece is really pretty. The B side is real pretty. But I wanted that showing too, so I may have to have 2 of these in my notebook. And you can do that. You can have more than one. No problem. So now we have that. So all we'll have to do is pick our ribbon. And I had picked out this color here because it went with that. I may pick out a different one for this one. So I'm going to hold off on that for just a bit. And I'm going to grab another piece of this paper because I think I have enough. You get 3 sheets in a collection to recut and make a second pocket like that. So hang on. Okay, so this is the great thing about using a Country Craft Creations collection package. You get 3 sheets of each design, and so when you need to recut something, you have some extra to do it. So here I have the 7.5 tall by 12 wide. This is the one I want on the outside. So if I take my big scoreboard, put the 12 in with what's the inside facing up. If you do that, that will help you get what you want going the right direction. Then you score it at your 4.5, and I'm going to score the next one correct. 4.5 and 9.5. It doesn't show on that other one, and I'm okay with that. And so now I'm going to have 2 of these pockets. But you can't have too many places to put your notes and things that you want to keep, right? So fold this up and burnish. See, that's I wanted the pretty butterflies like that. So I'm happy now with that. So go ahead and round these 2 corners on your short flap. I'm using the 1/2 inch. Okay, and then we take the 1 1.25? Thought I said 1.5. 1.25 is what I used. Center this up. Get your thumb notch punch in there. And then take your glue. Apply glue to the short edges here, right along the edge to seal up this pocket. And I haven't inked these yet, so I'll probably add some ink to these off camera. But I want to get these made and show you how to do that. And then I'm going to add the ribbon onto this one. So burnish that down really well. Seal that up. So we're going to, now we're going to wait on the ribbon because we're going to need to punch all of our holes for our book in just a little bit. So we got that. We're going to do all that punching at the same time. Next, what I have, these are really fun. This is your acetate, and then if you want to use vellum, grab some vellum. These 2 pieces, this one is cut, the acetate divider is cut at 4.5 by 7.5. Now, let's see if I rounded the corners on that or not. Don't think so. No, I did not. I'm just double checking here. Okay. So we did not, but this we're going to be stamping on. This one I did round the corners of my vellum piece, and the vellum sheet is cut at 5 by 7.5. No particular reason, it's just, that's just what I did. So only on one side we're going to punch around the corners. So these are ready. This one's ready for our punching our disc punch. And this one we're going to do some stamping on. So I'll set this aside right here. And, oh yeah, what was remaining from this, when I cut it, you're going to, if you want a acetate pocket, these are a lot of fun. You're going to cut one at 4.5 by 4.5. And you can score this, but you're going to have to really score it really good. And you're going to score at 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So really hold it down in there and really push in to get that mark where you can fold it. It needs to score a little more. So I just go back and forth on it, get a really good score. And you might need to use my other scoring tool. Let's see. 1/2 inch. Go over it several times and do that on just 3 sides. And I'm going to show you a trick when we put this in, when we start assembling things, on how to put this in so that you don't see your adhesive. Okay, so really score that good. Okay, and one more. 1/2 inch. This just makes a fun pocket. You can use it to put a photo in, showcase it. I'll show you in my other one what it looks like. So it's just like a regular pocket. Then you're going to take your scissors and do your little angle cut here on the 2 corners. And then when this goes into the book or the notebook, you'll have a really fun clear pocket. So then I fold this over, and then you really burnish really, really well to get that to stay down. See there? Do both sides right along that score line. Pressing really hard to make it stay down. Just like that. And then the bottom one, hold up and burnish. Okay, so that is our clear pocket, just like that. Now, my other one, I forgot to put a notch in it. If you want a notch, you would need to do that now, flipping through to the clear pocket in my prototype. So here it is. So what I did is I put a pull on this part here. Oops, it's got hung. Anyway, it pulls out. But you can put a notch there on your acetate. So I think I'm going to on this one. And just, well, it's not attached down, so I'm going to center it and notch. So that way it has a place there. Okay, so there's that one. So next we're ready to stamp this so it can dry. Now let me get my stamping platform. I'm going to move all this out of the way. So I remembered that I had from Country Craft Creations purchased the large floral butterfly cling stamp by Heartfelt Creations, and I've never used it, but it's bigger. It's too big to go face up, but I'm thinking I want to try it and use it even sideways. Don't know how that's going to look, but this is really pretty, and it would go really pretty with that paper, even sideways. I think this would be too wide for my book. If I cut my acetate a little bigger, yeah, I'm just going to see what it looks like going sideways. Okay, so I've got it on there. I'm going to put some ink on it. I'm going to ink this up as much as I can. Get a lot of ink on all of this. so that I can actually see the ink on the stamp. Okay, I want to see, and I may have to re-ink it. Press it down. And see what happened. See how that pulls up because I don't have the magnet. Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, I have a few spots that didn't completely catch, but I'm kind of scared to stamp again, but let's see. It's this part right here. Anywhere else? Okay. Just going to do that little part right there. Hold this down. Oops, make sure it stays where it belongs. Really press in that area right there. And lift up. Oh yeah, that's pretty. And even though it's sideways, I think that's going to look nice. Now, because it's on acetate, you've got to let it dry. And I'm going to let it dry probably overnight so I don't smudge it. So I'm going to clean all this up, and then we're going to start cutting some pattern paper for our folders and start working on that kind of stuff. So I let my butterfly dry overnight. Love how it turned out. Wish it had fit the other way, but I think it's going to be okay. What I'm going to do is put a insert behind it with this paper, which really makes it pop. But then I also wanted one going the correct direction, an image. So over here, this is transparency that I taped onto my work table. You can see it right there. And I used this wooden stamp that I had, even though it's a bee, stamped it on there with the archival ink in black. Let that dry overnight, and then this morning I took my Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend pens in the see what color, pale pink, I think it's pale alpine green and pale yellow green blend, and I just colored in because this is an alcohol markers, and so I just used the medium color, and I just went through here, and I can even add some more ink in here after the stamping dried. I dried overnight, and I just go along and color in like this with the marker, and it doesn't have to be totally perfect. So it turned out, I think, really awesome with the coloring. So I'm going to color in this a little bit more. Is this the green or the yellow? The yellow one is yellow as I wanted. This is yellow green. So I'm going to put some right in here a little more. So I just think that gave it a little bit of color. And what I'm going to do with it, so I'm going to have 2 of these in my book. So I'm going to put a panel behind it with this, with the dragonflies. I know it's a little weird, but I could do a solid, but I wanted a print, I think. So I'm going to pull my tape off and overlay this so that you can see how it looks. So this is just some ideas that you can do with acetate panels and some stamping with archival ink. So there you see how it shows up. You've got your image in the background, and you've got your lightly colored bee and the flowers. So I love how that turned out. So we're ready to pull all this together, get our elements punched. We're going to put some pattern paper on our folders and get all this into our binder, our Trapper Keeper, Crafter Keeper binder. So I'm going to pull out some pattern papers that I want on these. I want to put the paper down before we actually punch our to insert a ring binder punch. Can't even think this morning, but anyway, we're going to get this finished today, so I'm excited to get to work on this. So let me get my pattern papers and we'll get these covered. I've cut my pattern papers for my folders and for the pockets that we're going to make for the inside. Now on this one, I decided to add pattern paper after I had punched my holes so that these were made smaller. For this one, I cut the pattern papers for the front and back. You need 4 pieces, 2 for each folder, 4 3/4 wide by 7 1/4 tall. And that's going to fit on there like that. Of course, we'll round these corners. So I've got those picked out. And then for the pockets, we're going to make our pockets out of pattern paper that are on the inside. We need 4 pockets. And so you're going to cut your pattern papers down for your folder pockets. You need 4 that are 4 inches by 7 1/2, and we're going to be scoring those. So that's what we're working on right now, is our folders and our pockets here on the Trefger Keeper. So grab your envelope punch board if that's what you use to punch your corners for your folder, and on whatever paper you want for your front side, which I think I'm going to put the pink one here because this piece has a rounded corner. We want to round the corner on just 2 corners here on the long side. So punch that one and that one. So I use the envelope punch board. If you used a regular punch, you use the same punch that you use for that. So this is going to fit right there. And then this one on the back does not need a punch. Okay, so let's glue those on right quick. So this is the pink one. Get my glue. And yes, this is the back side of, but I love that pink color. And it is the back side of these tags. But we do have the pack of the pre-cut tags. So that when you have that and you're working on one project, you do have the option of using that, the back of that paper, and sacrificing some of your tags. It'll be okay. So we're going to put the glue on and line this up. It's about 1/8 of an inch on the top and the bottom, like that. There we go. And burnish it down. Love that pink on there. Get your excess glue out. Go ahead and give it a good burnish. So that just makes your folders pop. And then we'll turn it over, and then this one's going to go here on the back side. Love, love, love. It just looks like little sparkles of, no, I was going to use this one. This one I'm using on the inside. Sorry. We're going to use this one. So we put the glue on this side. I love this paper though. It looks like gold flakes in it. So if you haven't ordered this collection, Life is Beautiful, it's exclusive to Country Craft Creations. You really should check it out because it's a beautiful paper collection, so bright and vibrant. So we'll line this up. Okay. Burnish that down. We'll set that aside. These are the 2 papers that I'm going to make the pockets out of for this one. So I'm going to set those over there. These aside here. And find my paper with this one. So I'm pretty sure I cut it out. But I have to look and see. But I'm going to glue this one down. We're going to punch the corners. Maybe I didn't pick one out yet. Let's see. I want this side. Make sure you're punching the correct side. That Okay, so we can put this aside now. And this is going to glue right here. And then I will look for that missing piece of paper because I know that goes with that. And those are there. So I think maybe I never did cut one out. So I will cut one more. I think maybe I was looking for another side of this paper here. See what I've got left to do that with. So we're going to line this up. Be the reason someone smiles today. Okay, so let me grab another piece of paper. Okay, so here it is, and it is the opposite side. So I'm going to put this one right here, and then we'll make our folder pockets. And line these up. And burnish. Okay, so there's our folders, and we're ready to make our pockets. And all we have to do is score those. So we have these two folders. This is the front side, and this is the front side of this one. Okay, so this one's going to have these, and the other one. Okay, now then, you have to pay attention to how you're going to line up your pockets. So these are, it doesn't really, it's not that critical because they're the same pattern. You're going to need to score a 1/2 inch on one long side and one short side. So let's go ahead and do that. So I just flipped it over. I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch, turn and score at a 1/2 inch. Okay, and then we're going to take our scissors and we're going to miter cut where the two lines join together into a little square. Cut that square away so we can fold this up and fold this up and burnish those. So this is going to be the pocket on the left side here. Now we want that angle. So I just eyeball it on the first one, and I know I'm going to put it up about, a couple of inches or so. And I'm just going to angle cut right across to the other side about 1 inch across. I'm going to save this piece because I can use it as a pattern to cut the others. So this is going to go right in here. Okay, so now we're going to do this one. And I want the scoring on this side. So I'm going to flip it upside down. I'm going to score at a 1/2 inch. So that's that side. And then turn it so that it's scoring on the bottom. Make your diagonal cut, fold, and burnish. And this paper, this pattern paper, works beautifully to make a pocket. Or it takes to scoring, burnishing wonderfully. You don't have any cracking or anything. So now I'm going to take this piece here, this that I cut from the other one. Now this is the fold side, so we want it to be cutting over here. So that's going to leave about 1 inch up there, 1 1/4 inches, and down here we're taking away. So I just lay it here, hold onto it, and just do my cut. Might not be perfectly exact, but it is so close that it's okay. So now then you're going to just simply glue these in. So you put your glue on your 1/2 inch tab on the back. Right here. We're going to glue this in, and it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. You can if you want to. I just kind of did about a 1/4 inch from the bottom and the top. And burnish those. Make sure they stick down in good. Love how that turns out. Goes with that green so nicely, so pretty. And the bright pinks, and the teal blues, the purple, such pretty colors. Okay. So this is a bright, cheerful trapper, keeper, crafter keeper. So this one's about the same. It's about 3/8 of an inch from that edge. Put it in as straight as you can. Burnish. Get this bigger bum folder here. There we go. And there's our little folder pockets in our folder. Now all we have to do now is punch. And then of course we'll be decorating and everything. Or you will. So there's that one. I'm going to do this one exactly the same way. I'm going to use the same pattern to cut the angles. And then the folders will be done. So I'm going to do that off camera. Okay, so we're ready to start punching our disc holes, getting some of our elements in. Now I can't remember if I shared, to make your divider piece, you need a piece of cardstock that is cut at 3 inches by 8 1/4, and then a pattern to both sides. So I use the front and back of this beautiful piece with the start each day with a grateful heart. So that's going to go right on the front. And we're also going to make a pencil holder on this. And so I've cut a piece of the pink cardstock. It's 2 inches by 1/2 inch, and then a little piece of scrap from this to get the blue that is 3/8 inches, just under 2 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this one on so that it can be, drying. Whoops. Glue doesn't want to come out again. Oh, glue. I need to get my silicone one going. Here we go. That'll open it up. There we go. So get the glue on the pattern paper, and so this one can dry because we have to roll it to fit over the pencil. So we got that on there like that. I want to show you how to make that for your divider piece. So this is what we're doing here. And I'm going to get my notebook that I'm working on. I have my disc punch. And I do this with a pencil to do my marks with the pencil to make sure I don't goof up, because my brain can think I did it one way. And so I'm going to put this up against it. And this one here, you'll notice it is messed up. I jacked it up. What I did is I punched the cardstock, then I glued the pattern paper on, and then I punched it again and tried to match it up, and it didn't work. So make sure you put your pattern paper on before you do any punching with your disc punch. Okay, so it just makes it much more easy for you. So I'm going to put this in where I want it. Line these up straight, and I'm going to put me a pencil mark for each one. It's really important, especially for the middle one. But anyway, I've got that marked. So take my disc punch, and I'm going to look at this. So what this mark is, because there's a mark here, I'm just going to double check it. So yeah, I use the very far end of this to do my binding piece. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to line it up, and then I flip it around and I line up the other end. So see, I'm lining up with the very edge. And so the one that's marked in the center is the one that I have to use, the pencil mark and the mark here on my punch. Just make sure they're pretty close. Okay, so see, there's the punches. Now this is going to fit in just like that. Okay, so there's that divider one in. So now we're ready to add the pencil holder. The pencil. Where'd it go? There it goes. Okay, so we've got this little piece. You take your pencil and you lay this piece on it and you roll it around kind of halfway, and then get that pencil not too tight but not too loose. So kind of get a like that, right? So you get your little pinch with your finger and thumb, and I can see now where that's going to fit. So I'll lay this on here, and I want it kind of over here. I'm going to glue this first one on. Glue right here. I'll lay it right in here, about 1/4 of an inch from the edge or so. Put it on straight. Got quite a bit of glue on there, so wipe any excess glue up. Shoot straight. You get that like that. Put my pencil in. Put it on. And then I'm going to put glue on this other side and push it in so that it will hold the pencil. Pencil in, bring this to it. So you use a pencil, a pen, whatever you're going to get in there. And different ones are different sizes, so kind of make it where I can maybe switch it out if I need to. But I've got this one in, and I like that it has a clippy on it, so I can do it like that. There it is. So now we can add something here during the decorating if you want. Later I'll probably show you how to do little paper clips. So next we're going to flip this up, and we're going to put one of our acetates in. It's going to go right there. Now see, this is cut different, so that's why you want to line it up. And I'm going to take a pen, a Sharpie pen thing, line it up, give me a mark for my disc punch. So there, okay. Now then this one, different length. It's not the same length, right? No. I'm going to just line it up with the pencil mark. Hope that I get it right. It's a little trickier with this. You've got to sometimes cut some of that off. I'll go ahead and punch them all and then do that. And then you mark off any ink that you might have on there. Okay. So I flip it over, and if I see what I call a tag, cut those off. It didn't go all the way through. Okay, so then this will fit here, hopefully. I got them lined up right. Okay, so there's that one. Now I'm going to take my piece of paper that I cut. It's going to go underneath here, and it's okay if it's a little bit bigger, because all this is just going to flip through. So I'm going to line it up, mark it, take a pencil this time. I have another pencil here. Okay, line these up, give me a mark. So this is how you do it for all. All of your pieces that you want to put on your disc binding system. Now this, I'm using a single punch because I just have 3 rings in mine. If you want more and you have the disc punch that does multiples at once, you could do that, but then you are going to use a whole lot more rings. And I'm using 3 because that's what the Trapper Keeper had. The original one had. There it goes. So then when this flips over, you've got that liner piece in there like that. So of course I added fussy cut elements to mine. Next we're going to put in a folder. There it is. Put this over. So this is where a folder is going to go. Same thing, line it up where you want it to be. Right here. And you punch through the whole folder. This one pretty much lines up with the mark here. Again. So I'm just going to go ahead and line up my pencil mark so if I can find it. Here it is. And the third one. And so see when it opens up, it's in the middle like that. So then this goes on here. Okay, there's the folder. So when it opens up like this, sometimes you have to work with it just a little bit to get it going, but love how that looks. So there's that folder. So we have a folder there. Of course, we put things on the inside. We're going to do all that. I'll show you what you will do with your scraps. Yours are going to be different sizes. So it's not necessarily I'm going to do it on the camera. I will tell you a little bit about what you need to do, and you will do that on your own. Okay, so that's folder number 1. So next we're going to put, let's put this one in, because this one doesn't have one, but it has this envelope here. So you know what? I think I can punch these at the same time. I don't think I'll mess it up. What do you think? Okay, let's take that Sharpie pen again. Get a line here. So I'm going to do both of these at the same time. Isn't that pretty the way it looks like that in there? Love it. So then this flips over. Let's do one of these guys, not this one. Let's do this one here. Same thing. We're going to put it on, and then we will add our ribbon afterwards. So let's mark it. Give me a longer line. I can erase it so I can see them a little better. This one lines up with this marker here. I think. I'm just going to use my pencil mark just to be safe. Okay. Pencil mark. Okay, so there's that pocket. There. Oops. Okay, so it does need the ribbon there. Okay. Next, let's put another folder in. This one I got kind of off. Don't like, kind of got it messed up. I don't like if I mess it up. I think when I work with it, it'll keep going in okay. Our other folder. Yeah, we need to do a folder here. So I'm going to use my guide here to punch this one. Flip it over and punch. Not the end, but the notchy guide. Then I'm going to line this up. Yeah, that works. And mark the center one. And punch that one. So we have another folder. Flip it over here and get it on good. There we go. So we have another folder that opens up. And another envelope. It's getting kind of full now. So this one I'm going to do the same way. I'm going to punch by using this guide, flip it over, punch on the guide, mark just my center one. See it? And line it up and punch. Put it on this way. Makes it a little easier maybe. Okay, so there's those on there. I'm off camera, so I'm getting them all in. So I have the one vellum piece. This is just optional. I'm going to put it here in front of the acetate butterfly, and I'm just lining up the ends here with this punch. So I'm punching the side opposite the rounded corners. I did round the corners on these in case I didn't show you earlier. Then I'm going to lay this on here, and I'm going to mark with the pencil and punch the center one. And if you still see some pencil mark, erase that. And so this vellum, it just adds another texture in there in your book. Okay, so we have all that. Now I'm going to see. If you wanted to add one to this one, you could, but I'm going to leave this one with this divider like this. Okay, so work with that a little bit. There we go. One of these may be off some. The acetate ones, I didn't punch them right. So I'm just going in and making them a little wider. I'm not messing them up. Oh, put another punch in on that one. Okay. So didn't quite have this top one right. There we go. I have to cut this little piece out. I kind of messed that one up. There we go. It fits a little better. Okay. So now we need to make, let's put our other acetate pocket on. I'm going to put it on the very last folder back here. Then we'll do our ribbons. So this is going to go right here. Let me move this one out of the way so I can show you. See right here? Okay, so here's the secret of putting these on without having globs of glue showing. So put your glue on the 1/2 inch on the back. sure it's on the back side on the 1/2" tab. Put your glue on all 3 sides. And then what I do is take my finger and I smooth this out so it's not bunched up glue. It's just nice and smooth. And that's going to be enough. It's kind of like turning it into tape, but it will dry clear. Clean my fingers off. Towel down here. Okay. Then take your pocket and place it on your page straight as possible. Press it down. And take a really good bone folder and burnish. Now, some glue pushes up out of the top up here. I'm going to wipe it off. It's not a lot. It's not real thick. So you shouldn't have any problems. But you just want to make sure you're burnishing it so that the pocket edge lays down, and let it dry. And there you have an acetate pocket on your folder. And then you cut an insert to go inside. Next, we're going to make our little piece for our notepad. Now, when I made my prototype, I didn't have a notepad, and I have since purchased some. I went to Walmart and grabbed some. So we have this now, which gives us a bigger writing format. I made this by cutting me a piece of lightweight chipboard, several sheets of paper, lined them together, coated them with art glitter glue, clamped them together, and then I made a little binder piece that goes over it. So this one should go in. Let's see here. Yeah. Let's see how. Now I don't know if I have it in. Yeah, it fits pretty good. So all I want to do is make a piece for this one. It's a little wide for where I put my flat backs. So I'm going to leave this one in my prototype. I can always add more, make another pad, make more paper. So I'm going to leave it that way. It's shorter, so I like it that. This one we're going to make one that will work with this pad. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for that. To make a holder for the notepad, cut a piece of cardstock 1 inch wide for this notepad. You have to make it to fit yours, and in the area you have 6.5. And then I scored it at 1/2 inch on each end. Okay, so we've got that piece. Then we need to take a piece of patterned paper that fits about 7/8 of an inch by almost 5.5, not quite. I'm going to glue that onto just the front. So get that glued on. Apologize for my glue bottle once again, even though I had the pin in it. It just sometimes does that. Okay, so I'm going to glue this on. Okay, so glue it on the very front. This piece here, kind of center it the best you can. All right, now then, this is what's going to hold our notepad. And I want it to kind of fit flush at the top, thereabouts. So this is going to have to go on pretty close to the top. So you just put glue on your 1/2 inch tabs back here. Okay. And then I'm going to try to center these, and I just dropped it down a tiny bit, like 1/8 of an inch from the top, and center it. Make sure it's straight. Burnish those 2 ends. Wipe off any excess glue here. Okay, keep that free in there. Okay, for the notepad, I cut a piece that's just under 5 inches by about 7/8. And it depends on your pad of paper, of course, if you want to cover it and make that decorative like that. So you know, that's optional. So I'm just going to put this piece on there because I think it makes it prettier. So glue this on. Okay, there's our notepad. Then the chipboard, the cardboard on the back of the pad, you lift your paper up, and this is what slides underneath the holder. Push it in. Oh, I may have got my holder a little too high up. Let's see if I can get that in a little better. Well, I think it's going to go. Okay, right there. Okay, that just fits in there like that. So I'll slide it to the side, kind of center it. And there we go. So I'm going to, I need to burnish this in a little bit better right here and make sure it is in straight at the top. Okay, because it was kind of pulling up on me. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry for just a bit. And I'm going to grab, I'll look through my paper scraps, cover that, and then I'm going to be cutting something for this. And then we'll be left at decorating on your own. I did say I would show you some paper clips maybe to do, and we'll do that real quick. Paper clips, I'm going to take this bigger one here, and I punched 2 scallop circles. These are, I think, the 1 inch. Yeah, it doesn't say. Pretty much that's a 1 inch. Okay, so I'm going to put glue on one side of the circle. A good amount right in the center there. And I'm going to take it and my paper clip, where the short one wraps up and comes up, where you would clip it over your paper. This part would go down over your paper. Place this one on the top. Flip this over. Make sure I have plenty of glue on the paper clip. Put some on this paper here. And then I'm going to match this up the best I can. The little scallops. To punch the same size. And press that down over it. And hold on to it, pressing it and letting it dry. So that gives you, make sure it looks right there. Now you could add a flower or something here. The other kind that I made, see, this one had a bee on it, so that's why that one shows up differently. This one I made with the smaller clips, and I made with 2 enamel dots. So like I take this one here, again you want the part at the top, that's the top part. This is the short one is what goes over your paper. Okay, like this, the long one coming down. So I'm going to use this edge here. I'm going to use the dark pink on these, and you're going to use 2. And I'm just going to put this on that top side there, like that. Flip it over. Though they're sticky, I'm going to add extra glue. I'm still on frame here. Take a second one and put it on the back of the first one and then match them up. Just like that. And then you let those dry. And then you have a little paper clip with the top on it. So it just turns out really cute like that. Just make sure they stay lined up and give them a chance for the glue to dry. Okay, so that is how to make different kind of paper clips. You could use a rhinestone, whatever you like to put on yours. Like I said, a little flat flower. I did have those little flowers in my design team package. Let me grab one of those and see how that looks. I might want to change that out. So the colors aren't quite right, not quite bright enough, and I could color these with my ink markers if I decide to, but I think I'm going to take one of this color, and I'm going to switch this flat back out because it hasn't dried completely yet. put it back on the plastic. Add a little more glue there. So I want to show you what it looks like with a little flower. I think that's going to make it look really cute. So it's kind of a flat little flower that I got in my design team package. See, that's a really cute little paper clip. And if I want to add a little ink coloring to maybe brighten that up, I can do that. So I'm going to let those dry, and that is how you make paper clips for your project. And then go through in different areas where you see an image and you want to add this one here. I added the crystal glaze just in dots, and it just slightly glazed things up. That's a lot of fun to do. Punch out circles of images if you have any in the paper you're using, and create little decorative elements there like that. A lot of fun. So just play with it and have a great time, and just keep on working on your album. I don't know where I'm going to put this clip in, so I may be still constructing or decorating at this point, so I'm not sure. So we'll see. Need to fit this in. I need to show you where to put your ribbon. So here's a piece of ribbon that's about that I've crinkled up. Guess if you straighten it out, I like to use a lot of ribbon, make sure I have plenty. That's 24. So it's about a yard. Okay. So I probably don't need that much, but I'm going to take this. This is the envelope part here. It's already in the book, and I'm just going to lift it up a little bit here to wrap this around. The reason I waited till I got it on the rings is so I know where to put it so that it's not, whoops, in this part here. You don't want it in your ring holder thing. So I pulled it, place it. I'm going to tie it into a bow here on this side. It's just really easy, but I promised to show y'all, so I need to come back on and show. Now then, when I do my ribbons, I like to tie the ends in a knot. That's why I like to leave them longer, because I want to make sure I have plenty to do that, and then also have a nice bow here at the top. I tied a knot because then I like to just cut that off, and whatever frays between the end and the knot, that is fine with me. So this one's got it all nice and crinkled up. I got to pick a color for my other folder. Now then, when you've got it this way, you turn it over so that I've got it twisted, but that's okay. I'm going to straighten it up. Oh, it's not going to work with this one. I'm going to have to put it down below because I forgot I put this on the back of the folder instead of on the envelope instead of on the folder. This is okay. We still need this to work. So I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to slide this down a little bit. Almost a big goof up. Everybody has a goof up from time to time, and if we don't tell you, you wouldn't know. Okay, so just trying to fit this down without, there we go. Bring it down lower so that it is not at the top of my frame here. And just straighten that up. Now what it should be on that folder instead of on this envelope. But I would pick a cut apart to hold that ribbon down. Create, inspire, nothing's impossible. There's so many possibilities here. They're all great sayings. I'm just looking for the one. I believe you can. So it kind of takes away from the point of having it clear so that you can see. But I'm going to go ahead and glue this on to show you that that's how you would hold your ribbon down. Putting it lower won't help. So I'm going to go ahead, pull this down some, and go ahead and glue that on there. Still will be able to pull that picture out. So you want to make this smaller, you could. Just trim this down some. I don't think I see a small one. This one is more narrow, but don't think it's going to be enough to hold that ribbon down. It might do. So I'm going to go ahead and try this one so that it's not covering up as much of my photo space if I decide to put a photo in there. So I'm going to put glue over the entire piece, especially on the edges here, so that it will catch that ribbon. Okay, and I'll just flatten this down nice and straight. Place this saying here, rub it. It's going to come out some. It's going to clean that off. There. Sure it's catching that ribbon. And it will rub off there. Okay, so that looks like that. Now I will straighten this on this side. And untie it. You could also, if you didn't want to put a ribbon over that, put a magnet here. You would have to cover that up somehow to make it so it's not over your photo frame here. I'm just straightening this up here on the back like that. And then I'm going to put this back into the binder and then tie it into a bow. These are your inserts, remember, that you will make to go inside your pockets. Add pattern paper, whatever you have left in your scraps. So yours may be different from mine. And so that's why I don't actually do that online. And I also cut little scraps of paper around the corners on both sides of my tabs. You might want to leave yours plain so that you could put a label there, whatever you want to do on yours. So let me get my papers for this. And so we're ready to put the pattern paper on this. So I've cut this pattern paper just a little under, well, it's 2 3/8 by 8 1/8. And I used the envelope punch board, did the 2-inch punch to get this to fit. And then these two are from the border strips, the back of these cut-aparts. I think that's it, or the tags, cut-aparts, I believe. And these are cut at 7/8 by 4 3/4. And so that's what's going to go in this. So I'm just trying to decide. I really like that paisley look there in the smaller size. So that's the one I'm going to put on the front. So get my glue on there. And I'm so excited with how this has turned out for us. So much fun. I can see making different ones out of different pattern papers for this. Now you open this back with the magnet. So you got your magnet back here. So we're going to cover that as well. Now you will have about a 1/2 inch uncovered. If you want to put a little piece of paper there, scrap. So get the glue on that where your magnet is. And we're going to go ahead and cover this. Just make sure the butterflies are going the right direction. And burnish that down. So like I said, you've got this little 1/2 inch right here that's exposed. There is a scrap. You could probably cut a little bit if you wanted to. Just leave that fold uncovered. So like, I'll go ahead and do it and show you. I'm just going to cut a 1/2 inch off. So I went ahead and cut it out. You can see it's very, very, very tiny, and it's the extension of this green butterfly here. But I'm going to go ahead and put it in just to show you that if you want to finish that, you can. Like I said, it didn't bother me that it was pink, but this may look more finished. So just make sure you cut it just slightly under a 1/2 inch. Make sure it doesn't go over your fold like that. So that's finished. Now this piece here for the pocket, like that. So that's already been cut. Loving how this is turning out. Whoops. So go ahead and put some glue on the magnet on that tape, and then on this piece. Okay, so I'm going to line this up, get this on here, burnish it down. Okay, make sure you burnish around that magnet there. So there's that pocket, and it's all ready for different inserts. Like I said, I'm going to do that off camera because it depends on your scraps that you have left of your cardstock, your My Colors, your black cardstock. You can use that. Scraps of your pattern paper that you might be able to fold up, like this one. It's still 12 inches wide. You can fold that up into possibly a booklet. I just kind of fold and burnish, just line up the edges, just like that, and then fold the flap over, line it up nice and neatly, and burnish. That gives you a booklet right there. You can punch the corners to kind of finish it up, just this one corner on the flap. And you have a very pretty booklet that will insert into your pocket there. Okay, so that's just an idea showing you how you can do that. So I'll be doing a lot of different decorating on mine. I will come back. I probably will put pattern paper here. It's just cutting it barely a ½ inch. I corner around it and then glue it on there. I may use my envelope punch board to see how I can get some kind of corners to match. Haven't done that yet. So anyway, this is the tutorial for the Trapper Keeper, Crafter Keeper that I designed for Country Craft Creations. I want to thank you so much for joining along. I will have pictures at the end, a slideshow showing you the different things that I've done decorating on the inside. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already so you'll know when my next project is up. And as always, shop at countrycraftcreations.com. Have a great day. Stay tuned for the slideshow of the finished project. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.